Have you ever experienced that peculiar sensation that in just a fleeting moment, everything surrounding you feels somehow different, as if your world transformed while you weren't looking? What if these subtle shifts weren't merely coincidences or perceptual quirks, but evidence that you're continuously moving between parallel realities without even recognizing it? Parallel realities aren't just captivating elements of science fiction narratives. They represent a legitimate field that quantum physicists explore, suggesting countless versions of reality might coexist simultaneously. But how does this extraordinary concept affect your everyday life? The impact might be far more immediate than most people realize. Every choice you make, every thought that passes through your mind, and every emotion you experience potentially creates an imperceptible shift, a pathway guiding you toward a different version of yourself and your surrounding reality. These transitions typically occur with such subtlety they pass unnoticed, yet occasionally they manifest so profoundly they challenge your fundamental understanding of what constitutes reality. To understand parallel realities means recognizing that your present moment isn't fixed and unchangeable but fluid and moldable. The version of you experiencing this moment might differ slightly from who you were mere minutes ago. Within this continuous movement between realities lies tremendous transformative potential. A shift in perception can completely redirect your life's trajectory, aligning you with an elevated version of yourself. But how exactly do these reality shifts manifest in your daily experience? And perhaps more importantly, how can you recognize when you've transitioned from one reality to another? Today, I'll guide you through the revealing signs that you've shifted to a parallel reality. There's a strong possibility you've already experienced these transitions without recognizing them for what they truly were. As we explore this fascinating territory together, you'll begin to understand how these invisible shifts might be continuously shaping your existence, gently guiding you toward fulfilling your greatest potential. If everything around you can transform so subtly, you barely perceive the change. What's really happening beneath the surface of your everyday experience? The concept of parallel realities might initially sound complex, but at its essence, it suggests something remarkably straightforward. Life isn't a single linear path, but rather a continuous navigation through countless versions of reality shaped by your choices, thoughts, and emotions. Imagine your life as a vast ocean of possibilities. Each wave represents a potential version of your reality. As you make decisions, both significant and seemingly inconsequential, these waves reorganize themselves, creating new pathways. Some paths closely resemble what came before, while others diverge dramatically. What determines these transitions is your consciousness state. And fascinatingly, we often only recognize a shift has occurred after we've already completed the transition. Quantum physics offers an illuminating framework for understanding these transitions. At its core, this science reveals our universe consists not of certainties but probabilities. Every event and decision generates multiple possibilities that may or may not materialize in your current reality stream. In simpler terms, what you experience as your present moment represents just one manifestation among countless potential realities existing simultaneously. When you wake up one morning and decide to implement a small change, perhaps choosing meditation over immediately checking notifications, you might be initiating a transition between realities. This shift doesn't announce itself dramatically. Instead, it happens gently, almost imperceptibly, like the subtle transition between scenes in a masterfully directed film. This introduces the concept of continuity, how our experience feels uninterrupted despite these constant shifts. Just as a film consists of individual frames that, when projected rapidly, create the illusion of continuous movement, your life experience comprises countless discrete moments. What maintains this illusion of continuity is your mind's remarkable ability to connect these separate frames and interpret them as a cohesive narrative. These transitions happen naturally throughout your life, often without conscious awareness. For instance, when you notice something in your environment has changed slightly, an object appears in an unexpected place or seems positioned differently than you remember, you might actually be detecting evidence of a reality shift. These seemingly minor discrepancies might indicate you've moved between parallel realities. While such transitions may appear insignificant initially, their cumulative impact on your life's direction can be profound. Understanding this concept helps you realize the extent of your creative influence. You aren't merely passively observing reality unfold around you. Instead, you're actively participating in creating the different realities emerging in your experience. Every choice, regardless of how trivial it might seem, potentially moves you into a new reality stream. This understanding naturally raises an important question. If we're constantly transitioning between realities, how might we harness this phenomenon for personal growth and evolution? How can we align ourselves with the version of ourselves we truly aspire to become? Learning to identify moments of transition represents your first step toward consciously transforming your reality. By paying close attention to the details of your daily life, you might begin noticing occasional inconsistencies, things that don't quite match your expectations or memories. Perhaps you're absolutely certain you left your keys in one location, yet find them elsewhere. Maybe you experience that vague sensation that something in your environment has changed, even though everything appears normal at first glance. These small discrepancies might be among the subtlest signs that you're shifting between different versions of reality. When viewed through the lens of parallel realities, these seemingly minor anomalies take on deeper significance. What appears as a simple inconsistency, something out of place, or a feeling of discontinuity, might actually reflect your transition into another reality stream. In that moment, you're no longer occupying exactly the same reality you inhabited before. Imagine your life as a network of intersecting paths, each leading toward different potential experiences. Every decision, choice, and emotional state helps trace these paths, but some divergences occur so subtly they escape your notice, like making tiny course adjustments without realizing you're changing direction. Yet even these micro shifts can eventually place you on an entirely different trajectory. These transitions might manifest as experiences like déjà vu, that uncanny feeling you've lived through this exact moment before, but with some small, almost imperceptible difference. It's as if you're experiencing a slightly altered version of a previous moment, which, from the perspective of parallel realities, might be precisely what's happening. Sometimes these changes emerge so subtly, they only become apparent over time, as you begin noticing a series of small alterations across your daily experience. Beyond finding objects in unexpected places, you might occasionally notice shifts in your internal state. Perhaps you wake up one morning feeling inexplicably lighter, clearer, or more purposeful, as if something within you has suddenly aligned. These internal shifts might signal that something has transformed at a deeper level, and your external reality is beginning to reflect this inner change. Recognizing these shifts helps you understand just how profoundly you influence your reality. Noticing an object in an unexpected location isn't merely about the object itself. It might indicate a much larger transformation unfolding in your life. These subtle transitions occur continuously, and the more aware you become of them, the more intentionally you can participate in shaping your future experience. By acknowledging these changes as potential reality shifts and recognizing the transitions they represent, you can begin making more conscious choices about your reality. Rather than simply reacting to circumstances, you become an active co-creator of your experience. This awareness of subtle details strengthens your connection to the version of yourself you aspire to become, making personal development a tangible, present-moment process rather than a distant goal. Observing these transitions requires more than casual attention. It demands presence and conscious awareness. We often become so immersed in daily routines that we overlook the subtle changes continuously occurring around us. When you begin asking yourself questions like, why does this feel different today? Or how did this end up here? You're opening a doorway to deeper perception. This doorway leads to understanding how your reality constantly adjusts and reshapes itself, influenced by your choices and intentions. As you become more attuned to these signs, you naturally align more closely with evolving versions of yourself. Each small adjustment in your reality offers an opportunity for reflection and growth. When you notice something has shifted, take a moment to consider, what might this change reflect about who I'm becoming? In this state of heightened awareness, you access the true power of conscious transformation. Have you ever remembered an event from your past with absolute certainty, only to discover later it didn't happen exactly as you recalled? This fascinating phenomenon, where memories seem to shift, transform, or adjust unexpectedly, might indicate you've transitioned between parallel realities. When we shift reality streams, our memories sometimes subtly recalibrate, creating a slightly altered narrative of past events that feels familiar yet differs from previous recollections. Our memory doesn't function like a perfect recording device. Instead, it demonstrates remarkable flexibility and adaptability. The human brain, with its extraordinary plasticity, reconstructs memories each time we access them. This means every time you recall something, you potentially modify small details of that memory. What once seemed absolutely clear and unchangeable might suddenly appear hazy or noticeably different. Neuroscientists call this phenomenon brain plasticity, the brain's impressive ability to adapt and reorganize neural connections based on new experiences and information. This reconstructive capacity serves more than just basic brain function. It might help us adapt to new reality streams we've entered. When considering parallel realities, this takes on fascinating implications. If each reality shift brings subtle alterations to your timeline, it makes sense that your memories would also undergo corresponding adjustments. An event you clearly remembered might contain different details in your new reality. Even more intriguing is how smoothly these adjustments occur. You might not notice anything has changed until you encounter evidence contradicting your memory. This phenomenon relates to what psychologists term false memories, where you feel absolutely certain about remembering something a particular way, yet evidence reveals different details. A well-known example is the Mandela effect, where large groups of people share memories that contradict recorded history. These memory discrepancies often create discomfort precisely because they challenge our fundamental sense of continuity and stability. However, this phenomenon transcends mere psychological curiosity. It reveals the remarkable flexibility of human perception. Brain plasticity demonstrates that our minds constantly restructure and reorganize memories according to our evolving understanding of reality. This doesn't invalidate our memories or label them incorrect. Rather, it shows they represent dynamic interpretations shaped by both our past experiences and present context. These memory adjustments might signal you're accessing that recollection from a different reality stream, where certain aspects of past events have been reconfigured to align with your current reality. As you pay closer attention to these moments, the fluid nature of memory perception becomes increasingly evident. This transformation occurs not just in your external environment, but within your internal landscape as well, influencing how you connect with your own history. This raises a profound question. To what extent is your remembered past actually fixed and unchangeable? If each new reality stream brings different interpretations of previous events, what truly constitutes the past? Understanding memory's malleable nature helps us realize we aren't permanently bound by our perception of past experiences. Just as the present remains flexible and subject to change, the past can be viewed through fresh perspectives. This understanding grants tremendous freedom. When we fully grasp this concept, we can loosen the restrictive bonds that past experiences place upon us. Stories of pain, regret, or disappointment can be recontextualized through new understanding. You can liberate yourself from limiting narratives, recognizing that your remembered past represents just one version among many possibilities. Just as reality adjusts and shifts, you can choose which interpretation of past events you carry forward into your evolving future. Science further illuminates this process by showing that accessing memories activates specific neural networks in your brain. As your consciousness expands and transforms, these networks undergo corresponding modifications. Each time you revisit a memory, your current state of being influences and potentially edits that recollection. This means your perception of the past increasingly reflects who you are becoming rather than simply preserving who you once were. This realization that your past might shift alongside your changing reality offers profound liberation. It allows you to view your personal history as fluid rather than fixed, not as an unchangeable definition of identity, but as a collection of experiences open to reinterpretation as you evolve. As you transform and grow, your memories naturally follow this progression, adapting to your new reality. At certain moments, reality seems to fracture unexpectedly, as if something suddenly disrupts the expected flow of events. These moments of discontinuity, when normal progression shifts without logical explanation, might signal your transition into a parallel reality. Particularly telling are those moments when potential disaster seems narrowly averted, leaving you perplexed, as if the expected sequence of events somehow skipped or rearranged itself. From the perspective of parallel realities, perhaps that's exactly what occurred. These continuity breaks aren't merely coincidences or perceptual glitches. They might indicate that at a quantum level, you've shifted into a different reality stream, perhaps one where a negative outcome was avoided. This suggests that when facing potentially impactful events, your consciousness might rapidly transition to a reality where the outcome differs from what initially seemed inevitable. These shifts can happen so suddenly that your mind struggles to make sense of what transpired. You might find yourself wondering, how did I avoid that situation? Or why does this outcome feel so unexpected? When confronting these experiences, your logical mind searches for rational explanations, but often no conventional answer fully resolves your lingering sense that something unusual occurred. This persistent feeling of incongruity might indicate you made a sudden shift between realities, transitioning to a timeline where the potentially negative outcome never materialized. These discontinuity moments occur particularly frequently during high-risk situations, near accidents or periods of intense emotional crisis, where the event's sheer intensity seems to disrupt normal temporal flow. Many people report experiencing a strange suspension of time during life-threatening situations, where everything seemed to slow down or pause momentarily before suddenly returning to normal, with danger mysteriously averted. These episodes might reflect quantum transitions between reality streams. This aligns with the understanding that each parallel reality contains different potential outcomes. In one reality, the accident might have occurred with all its consequences, while in another, the one you shifted into, you emerged completely unharmed. During moments of extreme emotional or physical intensity, your consciousness might enter a heightened receptive state that facilitates transitions between realities. What initially appears as an inexplicable streak of good fortune might actually reflect your shift into a more favorable reality stream. These continuity breaks also serve as powerful reminders that reality isn't as fixed as it typically appears. The stability we attribute to our daily experience might be largely illusory. When these unusual events occur, they challenge us to reconsider our assumptions about reality's nature and how our consciousness might influence it. This opens entirely new possibilities. If you can transition to a reality where potential tragedy was averted, what other aspects of your experience might you influence or transform? Consider these unexplainable discontinuity moments as opportunities for awakening and expanded awareness. They invite us to pause and reconsider both the world around us and our role in creating our experience. Rather than dismissing or fearing these events, we might learn to recognize them as gateways to new possibilities. Access points to alternative paths constantly available to us if we develop the awareness to perceive them. Now that you recognize the subtle signs of reality transitions, small environmental adjustments, shifting memory perceptions, and breaks in continuity, an important question emerges. How can you apply this knowledge to enhance your life experience? When consciously recognized, these signs empower you to take greater control of your reality. Understanding that reality remains fluid rather than fixed, that time and circumstances aren't immutable, allows you to view life as a field of infinite possibilities awaiting exploration. This perception fundamentally transforms how you interact with the world because instead of feeling like a passive observer watching events unfold around you, you recognize yourself as the active creator of your experience. To consciously shape your preferred reality, developing deep connection with the present moment becomes essential. The present moment represents your only tangible reality, your PowerPoint from which all future possibilities emerge. When you fully engage with the present, you align with your creative ability to transform what comes next. By carefully observing your current thoughts, emotions, and actions, you begin consciously directing your awareness toward your desired reality. Visualization represents one of the most powerful methods for intentionally shaping your reality. By vividly imagining your ideal self, you create a mental template that naturally guides your actions and responses. Visualization transcends mere positive thinking. It functions as a reality creation tool. When you visualize with intention, your brain begins establishing neural pathways reflecting your imagined self-image, making this ideal version increasingly accessible. The key lies in visualization that engages all your senses and emotions, allowing yourself to fully experience how it feels to already embody your desired reality. Alongside visualization, adopting consistent daily practices that reflect your preferred reality version proves crucial for lasting transformation. Small actions, when practiced with intention and consistency, generate powerful cumulative effects. For instance, if you wish to align with a reality where vibrant health dominates your experience, begin incorporating small adjustments like mindful eating choices or brief daily movement practices. These seemingly simple habits progressively reshape both your perception and your manifest reality. Over time, these intentional actions integrate naturally into your identity, and your preferred reality begins materializing in tangible ways. Additionally, carefully monitoring your emotional state plays a fundamental role in consciously choosing your reality. Emotions serve as reliable indicators of alignment or misalignment with your desired experience. When emotionally resonating with your preferred reality, experiencing the joy, peace, or excitement naturally accompanying it, you'll notice your path unfolding with greater ease and synchronicity. The understanding that we continuously transition between realities represents a natural aspect of personal growth and evolution. Life essentially functions as an ongoing transformation cycle. The version of you existing a year ago differs from your current self, and your future self will be shaped by choices you make in this present moment. Each transition, regardless of magnitude, represents movement toward a new reality. An increased awareness of these shifts enables more conscious direction aligned with your deepest aspirations. Recognizing these transitions as natural life processes brings profound inner peace. Rather than resisting change or experiencing loss during discontinuity moments, you can accept them as integral to your evolutionary journey. Life doesn't follow a straight, unchanging path. It flows continuously, and each shift offers an opportunity to recalibrate and realign with the reality most resonant with your authentic self. The power to choose your reality isn't about controlling every circumstance an impossible endeavor, but about recognizing that in each moment, you influence the world around you through your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This knowledge liberates you, because understanding that reality responds to you rather than simply happening to you frees you from feelings of helplessness or victimhood. Remember, the power remains in your hands each day. With every conscious choice, you align more closely with your ideal self, and gradually you'll witness your surrounding world adjusting to reflect this new reality, your chosen reality. Thank you for joining me on this enlightening journey today. If this video resonated with you, please like and subscribe to this channel to receive more insights. Share this video with others who might benefit from understanding these concepts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below sharing your reflections and experiences with reality shifts. Thanks again for watching and participating in this exploration. Take good care of yourself, remain aware of your reality shifts, and I'll see you soon in our next discussion.